It is the midweek edition of the program, The Platform, the pinnacle of all discussions on Flow 94.9 FM. The midweek edition is Umunato special, of course, right here on the Flow of God's Own State. We look at things from the perspective of the Kwalangwa Elders Council. Of course, so much has been talked about as far as the 2023 general elections is concerned. Of course, that famous document, the Abia Charter of Equity. We're back here again to look at the perspective of things from the Kwalangwa agitation that power should rotate to the old Aba zone so that there will be equity and justice according to their definition and interpretation of the Abia Charter of Equity. So thank you very much for joining us again on the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions on Flow 94.9 FM. But just before we delve into the conversation proper, let's take the political update and we fire on. Stay tuned.
The Senate has amended Section 84 of the Electoral Act 2022, which will enable statutory delegates to participate in political parties, congresses, and conventions. The amendment will allow statutory delegates, in addition to the delegates elected by various political parties, vote during congresses and conventions to elect candidates for various political offices.
Section 84, subsection 8 of the Electoral Act 2022 does not provide for the participation of what is generally known as statutory delegates in the conventions, congresses, or meetings of political parties. The extant subsection only clearly provides for the participation of elected delegates in the conventions, congresses, or meetings of political parties held to nominate candidates for political parties. Mr. President, this is an unintended error, and we can only correct it with this amendment now before us.
But State Governor Dave Umahi has described the possibility of former President Goodluck Jonathan joining the All Progressives Congress as another wonder of the world. Umahi wondered how the APC would align its policies and promises if Jonathan, a member of the People's Democratic Party, clinches the ruling party's presidential ticket.
If he decides to join and it will, for me, become one of the wonders of this century. The reason is that if you go and see the campaign programs of APC, Mr. President Jonathan to come and run, I don't know what will be our campaign promises and what will be, the stories we'll be telling Nigerians.
The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) says it does not intend to extend the timeline for party primaries. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Kubu made the comment while speaking at a consultative meeting with leaders of political parties in Abuja.
By implication, the IPAC leadership is appealing to the INEC to extend the deadline for the conduct of party primaries and the resolution of ensuing conflict from the present INEC given date of 3rd June 2022 to 9th of July 2022.
I hereby reiterate the position of the Commission that there will be no review of the timelines. There are so many interrelated activities that are associated with the timelines which must be carried out.
The chairman of the All Progressives Congress in Abia State, Kingsley Ononobu, has triumphed over an attempt to remove him from office. This followed the striking out of a suit filed by Moses Uche seeking the dissolution of the State Executive Committee and appointment of a caretaker committee for the opposition party. The presiding judge, Justice Onwaha Ogwe, dismissed both applications for lack of merit. And that was Political Update. I am Wisdom Thomas.
So thank you very much, Wisdom Thomas, for the update in the world of politics. Of course, we're still talking politics, even as we're looking at things from the perspective of the Kwalangwa Elders Council, the council that has not hidden its agitation that power should rotate to Old Aba Zone. That old Bende zone has spent 16 years, so old Aba zone should produce the next governor of Abia State, and they are pushing it at all fronts. I mean, across the political parties, because they, according to the chairman of the Kwalangwa Elders Council, the members of the council comprise of party members of different political parties, not only the ruling opposition parties in Abia State. So welcome on board. My name is Michael Oni. So the impulse that drove the Abia State movement, that was in 1980. In the 80s, I'm not specific now, was the theme of brotherhood and inclusiveness. And this concept resonated with many sections of the former Imo state that decided to make a common cause with the founders of the movement. And the desire for a level playing field, the thirst for inclusiveness, and even the development of all segments of the associate communities led to the scripting of that Abia Charter of Equity on the 31st of August 1980. Abia was then a mere dream, an imaginary haven of peace and plenty flowing with the legendary milk and honey, and the land of human kindness and empathy. But fast forward years later, over 20 years later, after that document was put together by the founding fathers of the state, interpretation is still a very big issue right here. And one of the reasons that every electioneering period we have issues of zoning affecting all political parties, not only the ruling PDP in Abia State. But from the interpretation of the Ukwalangwe Elders Council, they are saying power should rotate to the old Aba zone because old Bende has retained power for 16 years. In fact, it's more than 16 years if we have to go back to the time of Ogbonnaya Onu. Anyways, let's continue the conversation today. This is Umunato Special of the platform right here on Flow 94.9 FM. Dr. Max Nduaguibe is joining again. He's the chairman of Ukwalangwe Elders Council. Dr. Max, good morning to you. Thank you for joining us on the platform on Flow FM.
Good morning and thank you.
And St. Moses Ogbonna is joining virtually. He's the former publicity secretary of the People's Democratic Party in Abia State, a member of the Ukwalangwe Elders Council. St. Moses, thank you for joining us today on the platform on Flow FM. St. Moses, can you hear me? Yes, I'm saying thank you for joining today on the platform. I will appreciate if you can move away from your present location so that we can have a smoother conversation and clear conversation. Thank you. So let me.
Are you hearing me now?
Yes, it's better. It's very better. Let me begin with you in the studio, Dr. Max Nduaguibe. What has changed from the last time we spoke? Are you still championing the cause, or are you tired? Is there still fuel in the engine?
Thank you very much. There is no getting tired, on this issue at all. It is something that is necessary. It is something that is desirable because it creates harmony.
Okay.
It creates brotherliness. It creates togetherness. So togetherness. If we don't do that, there will be problem in this state. People should receive what is due to them. And that is,
despite the resenting agitation you're getting from different quarters, are you still continuing with this agitation? Because I know that some people are still against this agitation, and which is part of democracy anyway.
Yeah, those who are, I've said it before, those who are against this agitation, I can classify them as cheats, people who like to cheat others, because I don't see any reason why something that belongs to both of us, then you will take 16 and give me 8. It doesn't make sense, does it? So those who are those who are against this agitation, I take them as people who are not honest to themselves, people who are cheats, people who are greedy, with power and all that.
All right, St. Moses, can you hear me? I hope nothing has affected the agitation. Looking at the crisis rocking different political parties, the PDP have their own crisis, the APC their own crisis, even ABGA have their own crisis. I'm just mentioning the major political parties in the state. So I hope it is not affecting the agitation of the Ukwalangwe Elders Council.
We are not making any agitation. It is them that are making agitation. It is them that are making agitation. We are not making agitation. They are agitating that the flow, power flow, they to be paid. They are the people that set the pace, rolling it from Abia North, Abia Central, trading. Now to Abia South, and then they passing to Abia Central. They are agitating that instead of rolling into Abia Central, it should jump. We are not agitating. The thing has flown into Umunato. It is them that are agitating.
Okay. Now,
are you getting my
yes,
point?
I'm getting you.
Yes, we are not making any agitation. It is them. Abia North people, of the old Bende people, that want to derail the court of justice. The court of justice then says in faith, listen, my brother, they say, the kind of the people you meet on your way up. This life rotates. It does not go flat. Because you will meet them again on your way down. It is he that is down that is making agitation, not the people at the top. They are not making agitation. They are making agitation, and they will soon be tired.
Okay, Dave Max in the studio. How? What strategy are you using to convince some of the stakeholders, I mean, elder statesmen in the state that are not in support of this cause? You know, they've never hidden their resentment, disagreement in this cause that is being championed by the Kwalangwa Elders Council.
The only method, to convince somebody who is not in agreement with you is to reason with him, to put the facts, before him, and expect, that he would show understanding. Now, you see, in the area of politics, it is a question of, it's like it's like winner take all.
Okay.
The sense, that if you win,
yes,
you control everything, and you decide who to give it to. We are saying no. In the case of our, we are saying that it shouldn't be a winner take all thing, because one, the Abia Charter of Equity makes it clear that you cannot take everything. If you have the governor here, then the deputy governor should come from the other side. If you have the secretary of government here, the speaker, should come from the other side. It is not a winner take all thing.
Okay.
So we appeal to their sense of understanding. We appeal to their reasoning, that if you have done 16 years, allow me to do the same 16 years.
And if they fail to yield to your appeal, what do you intend doing? Because politics is about numbers. You need their number to also to strengthen your cause.
We have our strategies, and it is not something that I'm going to come to the open here to begin to discuss.
Okay.
I certainly will not do that.
All right, let me take Saint Ogbonna on the next question. In Nigerian politics, we need less to emphasize that before you can achieve some level of recognition and occupy some juicy political positions, you may have a godfather, which is usually the case for most of the political positions occupied in the country. Just like the role of the godfather is undeniably and the crucial one in the mafia empire, in the Western world. So the question is, this agitation, should it pulls through at the end of the day, will it not give rise or give birth to godfatherism? What do you make of godfatherism in Nigerian politics, especially as far as Abia state politics is concerned? Saint Ogbonna.
As far as Abia state politics is concerned, this marks the end of godfatherism. That is why they are agitated, because they have built a cabal around themselves. People who must determine who goes. People who must determine the fate of Abians. People who must say the prayers, and all of us, the majority, the populace, will go out army. Okay, people to say, no, this is the end of godfatherism. I am giving it to a man who will now run around the whole Abians and make Abians determine their fate. That is where we are. At the time, the torch was placed on Professor Yuko.
Yes.
None of these godfathers that were there. Okay, Zivas is not one of the godfathers in Abia. Therefore, he is saying, what I suffered as governor, I will hand over to a man who will never suffer it, who will never come under a cabal, and the cabal will begin to give him television and he holds the remote. If he wants to watch TV Joshua synagogue, they say, no, what you see was, no. He will want a man who will look at the area, look at his country, look at the needs of other people, and they proceed without anybody directing him behind. That is why they are annoyed. That is why they are angry. That they ought to be part of the formation, part of appointing or determining who goes. That is why they are angry. and look at it and say, no, we have suffered it through this. It will end now. So, and my brother, we are determined, and that people are determined that it will end now.
Okay, St. Moses, I'm going to take you, maybe a follow-up question from your last answer. I know you're a member of the Kwalangwa Elders Council, and the council has other political parties members as one of them, I mean, as members of the council, the Kwalangwa Elders Council, and I know you're a member of the PDP. Are you saying that from the cause that the Kwalangwa are championing, they are in support of Professor Ikonne? That's one. And two, are you saying that Governor Okeze Pazu is supporting Professor Ikonne as the anointed one, if I can put it that way?
Let me tell you, every party has a location. The leadership of every party has a location. The location of PDP in Abia is PDP Abia. And every party has a leader. And the leader of PDP in Abia is okay to leaders. It's not the leader of Okwangwa. Okwangwa Elders Council are saying, all the parties, it is our God in Umunnato. It is Umunnato son. Bring your candidates from Umunnato. Elders Council will support you. We are not just supporting Uche. Any day, APC point to their touch, and they point at me on Umunnato person. If Abga does this,
so it seems the torch is on Professor Ikonne in the PDP as we speak.
It's the PDP and the Okwalangwa it can continue pointing until the success is realized. We also urge other parties to please point to their own. How we will solve our problem will be our problem. Any Umunnato from any party that wins. Because it is their thought. At this time, husband the people, especially if they are not, the results overnight, and we do all their candidates. Why supported them? Why no Palangwa supported them? And they won. Why should they not support Umunnato now? That is the question we are asking. Is it out of hatred? Is it out of not believing in us? That the time we wrote a pact with them and supported all Jews of Kano, supported the CH against our own people that were protesting. Why should they not shift now? Shift for Umunnato. That is the question we are asking. And we are made to believe that it is going to not because they didn't do well. No. Okay, they did well. More than their 2 children that have been in government. Okay, they performed better than them. So they cannot give us any reason why they should not support the person that is coming from Umunnato. Either from PDP, APC, or ABGA, or even YDP. Wherever it comes from, they should let us support Umunnato. Any of them, let us can choose who is better.
All right. It is the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions on Flow 94.9 FM, the Flow of God's Own State. The platform Wednesday edition is a Umunnato special where we look at things from the perspective of the Kwalangwa Elders Council, even as the council is championing the cause of power rotation to the old Aba zone in the state, believing that old Bende has ruled the state, I mean, in terms of who is the governor of the state, for 16 years. So they are saying it is only right for old Aba to for someone from old Aba zone to be the next governor of the state. So we do this every Wednesday right here on the Flow of God's Own State. We call it Umunnato Special. Now, Dr. Max Nduaguibe, right in the studio, is the chairman of the Kwalangwa Elders Council, and joining us virtually is St. Moses Ogbonna, the former publicity secretary of the PDP in Abia State and a member of the Kwalangwa Elders Council. Dr. Max, I want to take you on the issue of godfatherism in the state. How will you describe the state of Abia in respect to godfatherism? Do you think politics of godfatherism is being played in Abia? If yes, Has it affected us positively or negatively? Because as you know, godfatherism, maybe I should define it for those joining and online and do not understand what I mean by godfatherism, especially those joining from outside the country. In Nigeria, it's a political term, a political investment where the investors are set to make profit at all costs, and they invest during the electioneering period and get to make profit. The profit might be juicy positions, the profit might be in monetary terms. That's just a simple way to define godfatherism in politics in Nigeria. So, Daymax.
Well, I don't know. I teach political science, I teach law, and I want to be realistic. In every community,
yes,
in every association, there are leaders. Nobody crowns himself a leader. Some people will come together to make you their leader.
Okay.
So, it happens also in politics that there are some stakeholders.
Nobody makes himself a leader.
Nobody crowns himself the king. Nobody.
You need the support of people.
People will come and say, this is our king, and they put the crown on your head. Okay. You don't take the crown by yourself and put it on your head and you say, I'm now your king. It doesn't happen anywhere. It has never happened before. It will never happen. So there must be some people, some stakeholders who will come together and assist you to become what you intend to become. Now, the problem of godfatherism here in Abia State is the greed, the excessive greed associated with it.
Are you accepting that the politics of godfatherism is being played in Abia?
Of course. Now, let me say it this way.
Okay.
Let me say it this way. When Ojuzo came, Ojuzo didn't have a godfather within the state. His godfather then, was the vice president at that time, Atiku Abubakar, who helped him to become the governor of the state. So he had a free hand in the state to govern. He didn't have a godfather because Atiku Abubakar was not interested in the internal politics of Abia State and how Ojuzo runs or not around, the state. So Ojuzo had a fairly free hand, to run the state. It was when Ojuzo was, conceding power to T.A. Oje,
yes,
that he now imposed conditions, that were, according to them, extraordinary, ridiculous, full of greed. So, you can say that, godfatherism exists everywhere, even in business. Somebody brings you up and helps you to succeed in life. You cannot say that person does not exist.
Is there a level of help that you can seek, and we wouldn't say it is godfatherism, or is it a norm that should be accepted that there should be godfatherism before you can attain a certain position? Because you say no one crowns himself without the help of people.
Of course. Now look, we must be honest. Let's be honest in this thing. I'm not worried about. What I'm worried about rather is the greed. Because the moment you begin to ask more than you are supposed to, the moment you begin to impose your will, on the governor or whoever, and the moment you begin to share the resources, of the state, now that is greed. That is expression of greed. So you cannot say that there won't be godfatherism in politics. There will always be. There will always be. What people are, you see, I get amused when young people write, particularly in the social media, we don't want godfatherism again, we don't want this. What you don't want is the greed associated with godfatherism. Somebody can be altruistic. Somebody can, for example, what did Atiku gain in making Ojuzo governor at the time? Nothing. And that was why Ojuzo was able to have a free hand, to run his state. But it is in Ojuzo himself, putting his own man after him, that the greed, in him, took over.
What are you saying that the godfatherism in this sense started with former governor Ojuzo Kali?
No.
Okay.
In every state you find it.
All right.
You find in every state some. You see, since 1969. I mean, since 1979.
Yes.
1999. Sorry.
1999.
Since 1999.
Yes.
Every governor that comes serves out his term, brings someone else, to replace him, isn't it? Now, in bringing someone to replace you, you pose conditions, that are sometimes unacceptable on that person. Now, you're exercising the greed of a godfather. You're exercising greed, that is not necessary. You don't seem to understand me, right?
I'm getting you, but I'm trying to look at the difference between mentorship and godfatherism here, because in all facets of life, it is believed that you need a mentor who is well experienced in that sphere of life, who will take you, bring you up, and tell you this is what you should do, so that you wouldn't fall down here, you wouldn't make a mistake here. Now, is there a difference between godfatherism and mentorship?
Well, here again, it depends on the area of activity.
Okay.
If you're talking about a tradesman, somebody who is a businessman who brings up a young man, that is mentorship. Now, in politics, you also follow a leader. Now, when you follow a leader, you learn from the leader, and that is mentorship. But then when it comes to acceding to power,
okay,
it's a different ballgame altogether. Because you don't accede to power by mistake. No. Somebody will say, you are going to be my successor.
Okay.
Now, that person who is saying to you, you are going to be my successor, in a way, is your godfather. But then, what is wrong with it is when that person begins to take more than he is not, he's supposed to take. It is when he begins to impose his greed, on the state.
Okay, let me ask you, just before we take a break now, the cause being championed by Ukualango Elders Council, will it not lead to godfatherism in this state? Like if eventually it pulls through and someone from Ukualango becomes the governor of the state, will the person not play the bid of Ukualango people? Because, well,
that is what I'm saying to you.
Well supported by the Ukualango Elders Council and some other stakeholders.
That is what I'm saying to you. That is what I'm saying to you. That we base our aspirations, on the Abia Charter of Equity.
Okay.
And I have said it here. It is not going to be a winner take all. It
is not for personal interest.
No, we have no interest whatsoever in who becomes. On the person.
On the person, the individual, but the person must come from your zone.
That is all we're asking for. That is all we're asking for, and we're asking all the political parties to zone their governorship positions, to this Umunato area. And then when that happens, we will then give support. Now, the support we're talking about is, the voting power of Umunato will be expressed, and given to that person.
Are the people at the grassroots in Umunato ready to queue behind anyone that the Ukualango Elders Council finally supports?
Oh yes.
Are they ready? How much are you going to the grassroots to?
We have gone to the
Ghana support
for the past 2 years. For the past 2 years, yes, we have been canvassing this idea, and we have been going from local government to local government, canvassing this idea, bringing, educating people, telling them why it is necessary. So the people are ready. They are ready. They are just waiting to get a candidate who, they will throw their, voting power behind.
All right. It is still the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions on Flow 94.9 FM. In case you just joined us, we're live on Facebook, facebook.com/Flow949FM. You can watch what is happening. We've been talking to Dr. Max Nduaguibe, the chairman of Ukualango Elders Council, and St. Moses Obuna, a member of the Ukualango Elders Council and the former publicity secretary of the People's Democratic Party in Abia. So we take a break. When we return, we continue the conversation, and definitely we throw the lines open for you to share your thoughts with us. What do you make of this cause that is being championed by the Ukwalangwa Elders Council, and we call it Umunato Special. I know you have questions for my guest. Just stick around. We'll take your questions and contributions. Stay tuned. All right, thank you very much for staying tuned. Still the platform, Umunato Special, right here on the flow of God's Own State. Flow 94.9 FM, the flow of God's Own State, Wednesday edition. Of course, we've been talking to Dr. Max Nduaguibe and St. Moses Ogbonna, of course, both from Ukwalangwa Elders Council, as we look at politicking and 2023 from the perspectives of Ukwalangwa Elders Council. Let me ask you, St. Moses, joining us virtually, this cause that is being championed by Ukwalangwa Elders Council, it seems the attention is only on the governorship candidate of the various political parties. Are you looking at other political elective positions rather, or it's only about the governorship candidate that emerges for the various political parties? We've not talked about other elective positions, especially on this program.
Yeah, before I answer that question,
yes.
I want to lend my voice on the godfatherism argument.
Okay. All right.
Listen, a godfather is different from a mentor. A mentor is one who wants to build you for the sake of yourself. He has seen the potentials in you. He wants to enhance it. He wants you to be relevant to the cause. Relevant to the situation at that material time. That's a mentor. To build you from your back, make you from your present, and then project you for the future. That's a mentor. It's different from a godfather. A godfatherism in politics is one who will want you to become, whether you are supposed to be there or not. It is because of the concept of godfatherism that we saw a fish seller becoming a local government chairman who cannot even sign the signature, who cannot even read her name when written by another person. That's godfatherism. Godfatherism, a godfather is like a pencil maker who has built a sharpener and the eraser on their head, warning you that after sharpening you as your godfather, if you peradventure begin to write what he does not intend you to write, he will cause the weight of the eraser to descend upon that which you have written, and your flesh shall be no more. That is a godfather. And we are saying that it is because of this concept of godfatherism that has created us where we are. And okay, people to say, no more! We will bring any politician from any party that is not put by a godfather. Okay, this is not a godfather. He is a mentor. Having explained this, Ukwalangwa Elders Council is not interested in who becomes our representative in the federal house or state house of assembly, because such persons must come from Ukwalangwa area. We are interested on that position that will be shared between the Ukwalangwa people and the Ogbende people. That it must be shared according to equity. It must be equitably shared. When it is not equitably shared, Ukwalangwa elders will come. If you are a representative, you are from Ukwalangwa area. If you are a house member, you are from Ukwalangwa area. If you are a senator, you are from Ukwalangwa area. We can begin to meddle into those. It is the people that you come from their either their local government, their federal constituency or senatorial goals that will determine who goes, not the place of Ukwalangwa.
All right.
So Ukwalangwa is to ensure that any share that is between must be shared between Ukwalangwa and the organization must be equitably shared, and that is where we are. And the only thing we have governorship, speakership, deputyship, and all that.
All right, we need to take a break now. Throw the lines open, rather. We're not going for any other break. We're throwing the lines open. Let's get reactions from the phone lines so that you can respond to questions. I'm sure our listener do want to ask you some questions and make some contributions concerning the topic of discussion today, right here on Flow 94.9 FM, the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions. The lines are very much open. 0808 182 6949 or 0811-605-2949. Also drop messages on 0906-510-8289. We're live on Facebook, facebook.com/Flow949FM. You can also drop your comments. We will take the comments now, and definitely my guest will respond to you. Hello, good morning, and welcome to the platform on Flow FM.
My brother, good morning.
Good morning.
Once again, man, Evangelist Kenneth.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I want to make this point so that you yourself will go through it. Because I've likened your questions, which have been thrown to them, and they have not been answered. Listen, there is a secret motive behind this agitation which they have not told us. What? Now, the advocates of equity, which they are mentioning, did not tell us how many years each one will stay before you leave. 3. Our elders in other states, not only them, are no longer honest because they have changed their color. Both North, other North, other Central, and the other one, other South, they have all ruled in these 24 years, and nothing has been done to other states. Listen, if there are no for that reason, why are they pushing for it? Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu have shown us that there's no go for that reason, and they have done something in their state. What about their state? God is watching. This is God's own state. Whether they like it or not, power belongs to God. No matter how they will boast or how they will be angry. North, West have ruled Nigeria for how many years? Will East come now? East will say we will take over the years the North and the West have ruled. It can't be possible. That's it will cause chaos.
All right.
Youth, be careful. When this trouble comes out, they will run and leave them to die. God bless you.
All right, thank you. Let's take. Okay, I'm going to ask you the question. Maybe they'll just gather their thoughts. I mean, the listener thoughts, and you will respond. He's asking, is there a secret motive behind the agitation? I have noted it, so I'm going to ask you the question later. Let's get more reactions. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the platform on Flow FM.
Hello, good morning.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Mark. Nduaguibe.
Good morning, please.
My name is Mr. Anyalerechi C. Nkoro, a Manita State Plan. This is my 72 years. I give God the glory. We're talking about elders. I am boldly an elder, and I know what is right for the younger ones. Last time ago, I asked you a question. As an elder, how far have you gone towards advising that governor in the government house who doesn't feel the pains of pensioners in the state? Today we talk about payment of pension. He gets that in. He receives money every month. He moves around with pot belly. He eats.
That's a direct attack. No personality attack.
It is not a direct attack.
You can as well share your thoughts without. I know.
When
just a
somebody is showing me, Michael, keep quiet.
All right. I will have to let you go. You can't tell me to keep quiet on my show, and you can't insult anybody physically. You can as well share your thoughts without being aggressive about it. If you've calmed down, you can call back. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael Loni.
Thank you for joining us. You're welcome.
Good morning, Doctor.
Yes, sir.
I'm calling from Omai.
All right, thank you for joining us.
I want to agree with Doc for the first time about godfatherism in Nigeria, in Nigerian politics. It's not all about people. It's when those, I see godfatherism as a mentorship. political mentorship. It's when those mentors are bringing greed into it, is when it goes into a problem. But whenever it's come to politics, you must have somebody that you're following, or you're following his or her footsteps, and somebody that will be guiding you politically to achieve one or two things you are getting. It is when those persons are looking into the world that is not supposed to be so, looking for making ideas unbearable, or any governance unbearable for the person that's been elected, is when the problem comes. Then secondly, the issue of Okwalangwa, I want to tell them that many of them doesn't even love the governor more than I personally do. But the issue remains, you are shouting. None of them has even told the governors maybe the plight of pensioners, the plight of health workers that are going on carrying placards, the plight of teachers and local government people that are being owed. The way that things are going in Abia State, it's not supposed to be so. But how many of them? You see these people that are talking, these are the people that are still giving Dr. Kezipa the names of for excess. Why people will be owed? Their own people will be employed by the government. They are just pushing government to employ more people, while they know that economic reality on the ground is not even helping the governor. So these are the ones that are putting problems into the governor, instead of them to provide solutions to what is going on in the country today. So they need to see that none of them has even condemned the activities of things that is going on. These people that are being owed, you see what last scholar said, in as much as the way he presented it is not supposed to be so. But people are buying. What are the Okwalangwa people saying about it? All they are looking for is just, if we want to get power, what people are somebody from as well to Sotino Kezipa. We know that we have three geopolitical zones, three senatorial zones in Abia State. So the northeast and central, I don't know the issue of Odbende and Abanot. They should join us to make sure that people give us the leadership of democracy. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Hello, good morning to you. Welcome to the platform on Flow FM.
Good morning, Michael.
Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning.
Good morning.
First of all, I might, don't be annoyed. I think a public servant ought to be receiving lots of insults from very sorts of people. So sorry for the insult meted on you, Badama.
Yeah, it's okay.
I remain Mr. Prince Olusiagu from Enomona Jobo. My gentleman in the field, I think you have said it all, but I'm here to disagree with you. The position of Abia State governorship by two zones, like the governor has done, to me, I'm not seeing it as godfatherism, like you were saying there, that governor has stopped godfatherism in Abia State. I quite believe that whoever that goes to equity must go with clean slate. The governor is a beneficiary of what they are terming as godfatherism, but to me, I'm seeing it as strata of equity. This strata of equity is not being done by only particular zone, right? It is being done by the entire people of Abia State. Most importantly, the people that belong to a particular party. So for him to have reneged from such an agreement, to me, he's not going with equity. What I would have allowed him to do is this: leave it open, make it that they don't have any zoning again, neither for him to make it for two zones, because we have three political zones in Nigeria. Let him leave it open so that the electorate should choose whoever they like, so that godfatherism is dodging will not be there. That's my thing, and God bless you, my brothers.
All right, thank you for your take. I will allow my guests to respond to some of these comments, interesting comments anyways. No one is angry anyways. We just have to ensure that we don't use derogatory words, and of course there is no personal attack on any personality. You can as well share your thoughts. We understand how emotional you are, but no doubt about it. If you're being owed or you're being owed your pension, you will be very emotional with it. But you can also ask questions without throwing unnecessary jabs and some comments that we do not allow right here. We're issue based here. And all right, so I'm going to ask you this. I have highlighted some of the comments from the phone lines. Dave Max and St. Moses. Is there a secret motive behind the agitation? Then the second one is, how far have you gone in advising the governor on the pains of pensioners in the state, being Okwalangwa Elders Council? Yeah.
Okay, let me start with the first question, which is whether there is a secret motive behind the demand for equity, because that is what it is. I don't see any secret motive behind it. The only person who will be suspicious of what we are doing is somebody who is benefiting from what he is not supposed to benefit from. People say, let us go by 3 senatorial zones. Fine. The 3 senatorial zones is populated by people, isn't it? Now let us come to Abia Central. Abia Central is populated by 2 clans, the Umuahia people and the Ngwa people. If something comes to Abia Central and the Umuahia man takes it, does that deprive the Ngwa man from, having his own share? Now, this is something people should understand. It's a very simple thing. Unless you are greedy, unless you are, I don't want to use this kind of words, somebody must be really, somebody must be really greedy, to want to own everything, want to take everything. Something has come all the way from Abia North, gets to, Abia Central, and the Umuahia man in Abia Central takes it. The Umuahia man in Abia Central is the same person as the person from Abia North. They are all Bende people. So you are telling me that the Umuahia man in Abia Central has taken it, therefore he has also taken that of an Ngwa man. It is not true. The Ngwa man is still waiting for his own turn. So there is no secret motive except to demand that what is right be done. You cannot take something that belongs to you and that. You share it into 8. You take 7 and you give me 1 and you say I should go home crying to my mother. No, it's not true. I wouldn't. It's not true.
On the second question, maybe I should throw that to
let me also attend to
all right.
The second question is that
advising the governor on the pains of pensioners. He was very specific, although he went overboard at some point.
I understand. I understand that. First of all, I know, and this is not defending the governor, because 1, I am not a member of PDP. 2, I am not in government. So I have no opportunity, if you like, advising the governor. What I am doing is completely different. It's a socio-cultural thing. We call it Mitinamala.
Okay.
Now, Mitinamala is that, everybody, whether you are Catholic, Protestant, you come to the meeting and we discuss things that bother us. We discuss our welfare. So what we're talking about is the welfare of Umunato people who have not governed this state and who are supposed to govern this state this time around. This is what we talk about. Now, I also know, as a Nigerian, I also know that pensions and salaries are owed to workers here and there. I know that. This is not the only state where pensioners are not paid. There are other states that pension, but that does not mean that it is that I support it. Now, people in government should explain to us, why they are not paying pensions. People in government should explain to us why they are not paying salaries. It is not the business of Okwalangwa Council of Elders to delve into that area. It is not at all.
The policies of the government, you don't talk about it.
No, we don't.
All right. Let me take your final thoughts, St. Moses Ogbonna, who is joining virtually. St. Moses, emotions are running and pouring, and seems you're still having some resentment to the cause being championed by Okwalangwa Elders Council. St. Moses, let me have your final thoughts before we step out of the studio this morning.
Yes, you see, the person that talks about pensions and all that, it's the reason why we are saying to hell with godfatherism. These people that made occasion not to pay pension and the salaries, because they gave him television and had the remote control. I hear people say enough is enough. Okay, they himself who wears the shoes says enough is enough. I will hand over to a man whom I will not control, who will look at Abia and do for Abia what Abia people want. All these things will be healed if the person coming in is not a stooge of a godfather. That's where we are. If the Okalangwa elders I give you, we are not doing any agitation. We are insisting that the faith that has been said by them from Old Bende, brought from Adia North, Old Bende, to Adia Central, Old Bende, to Adia South, Okalangwa should come back to Adia South, or Adia Central, Okalangwa. That is the position of Elders Council. What happens in government will be better explained by those people who are the godfathers that gave it to him. Because they have quarreled. Because he has refused in the agreement to come back so that they will determine whom he gives to.
All right. St. Moses,
in servitude.
We will continue this conversation next week. Hopefully we'll get to know who are the godfathers. Maybe that will be the next line of the next direction on the program, the platform next week, Wednesday, Omunato Special. Thank you so much for joining us this week on the platform on Flow FM. St. Moses Ogbonna, former publicity secretary of the People's Democratic Party, a member of Okwalangwa Elders Council. We do appreciate you. And also Day Max Nduaguibe right in the studio, the chairman of Okwalangwa Elders Council. Thank you so much for joining us this week.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And many thanks to my producer, Samson Eze, Ezine Okoro, and also Wisdom Thomas, the guys behind the visuals on our Facebook page, Stanley and Chinedu. Do enjoy the rest of your day. My name is Michael Oni.